Mortal Kombat 2 is the sequel to 2021's Mortal Kombat, and until yesterday I hadn't seen either of them, and this is my take. The champions from the previous Mortal Kombat, now joined by Johnny Cage, are pitted against one another in the ultimate no-holds-barred, gory battle to defeat the dark rule of Shao Kahn that threatens the very existence of the Earthrealm and its defenders. So yeah, literally, before stepping out the door to see this, I caught up on the first Mortal Kombat. Not the 1995 one, I am old enough to have a vague, rather negative memory of that, but the 2021 reboot that sought to reinvigorate the franchise on the big screen. Before I start going on about the sequel, the first one is certainly the tee-up needed to make the second fully enjoyable. If you're thinking of seeing Mortal Kombat 2 without seeing the first, I'd advise against that. The first is a pretty by-the-numbers introduction to the world of Mortal Kombat. It's okay. Not great, but compared to its 90s predecessor, a big improvement. It sets up key players with limited stakes, has a lot of fights, some clunkier than others, with a dollop of gore. The CG is off in places, and Cole, as the key protagonist, he's just boring, and the actor playing him lacks any real charisma. The best thing about the first one, though, Kano, by a long shot, and he's killed off for some reason. But what the first outing built leads to what is a fun and satisfying sequel in Mortal Kombat 2. Plus, they bring back some unexpected stuff. Again, it's not an amazing movie, it's just solidly good, silly, action-packed fun. If you're looking for a night out where you switch off, have a laugh, and watch people fight in fun and ludicrous ways, you will not be disappointed. The decision to cast Karl Urban as Johnny Cage and bring this character into the fold is just a masterstroke. He's charismatic, funny, and gels well with the already pretty campy and ridiculous group of characters. Through all this ridiculousness, he's the one keeping this wild ride together. He also brings a lot of pop culture references in his jokes that help you laugh along. The wider story is a bit more interesting and connected than the last film, with Shao Kahn being a classic big bad that just will not die. He also looks and feels properly mean, and the film brings in more connection to the format of the actual game, the worlds they fight in, the format where the fighters are selected and dropped into the arenas. It's a creative, albeit silly way to honour what a casual player like me will recall from the games. The fatalities also vastly improved, making the first outing look neutered by comparison. I mentioned Cole was a real weak link of the first film. Well, mercifully, he takes a firm backseat in this one, but honestly, one scene where he's in the same room as Johnny Cage just shows how much of a charisma vacuum he is, and I think the filmmakers realised this. In fact, Mortal Kombat 2 feels like a fully refined take on the previous film, where they actually looked at what worked and what didn't, listened to the fan base, and vastly improved the recipe. Visuals wise, everything is just a lot more vibrant here, and the quality of the CG is much better. Small things including Raiden's glowing eyes, and big things like the sets and fire effects are all improved by miles. The fights are also way more kinetic and better shot, and all of this culminates into one fight in particular where Liu Kang and Revenant Kung Lao face off. It's a visual feast. The icing on the cake is Kano's return. I'm usually a cynic of the choice to bring back a character even though they died.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But hey, it's a Mortal Kombat film. They just pull anyone back to life when they feel the need. But Kano was a need, and a welcome one. He's really funny and always serves as a wild card in the storytelling. Not that anyone's here for a thoughtful, well-composed story, but Mortal Kombat 2 definitely outdoes the first and actually creates some stakes and some decent character moments. I thought the dynamic between Kitana and Jade was a decent part of the story, and these two new characters are a solid inclusion along with the rest. Yes, in terms of problem solving or story beats, it is hilarious how often a problem arises only to be solved or resolved in the very next scene.
Oh, how convenient!
But this aspect keeps the film's pacing tight and kinetic. Whilst I mostly enjoyed this, there are a number of odd edits and moments where you feel like there was a rewrite here or a decision to just cut a scene there. You can tell there are moments where a thought continued in the dialogue, but in the edit, they just cut it out and moved on. There are a number of weird logic jumps, probably too many characters, and I also got the feeling there were some copy and paste moments from the first film to shoehorn into here. Like, towards the end, I realised that next to the main story arc, they were going to bring Sub-Zero and Scorpion back in for a fight. Sure, it's a bit different here, but it seems you can't have a Mortal Kombat film without inserting at least one. Get over here! Also, this film just won't be for everyone. Watching both the first and second in quick succession, I had a reasonable time considering how ridiculous the storylines are. Mortal Kombat 2 is definitely the more refined of the two. In fact, what it seems to be doing is righting the wrongs of the first. It's also less than 2 hours long. It doesn't outstay its welcome, never once feeling overly long or flabby in the middle like these kinds of movies can be. It's a solid, silly Saturday night at the cinema. What more could you ask for? And that's it for Mortal Kombat 2. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and say hello in the comments, or try this video next. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.